actually and change, and I was thinking, and it got me, and I was looking up, what are the New Year's resolutions, the top ones that everyone makes, and man, it was funny, looking at it all. And so number one, eat more healthy. And I thought, yep, that's me, after huge amounts of ham and bread and sausages and pavlova and trifle and everything, I think, right, yep, this is it. This is the year. It's going to change. Gonna pull it back, Second one, exercise more. Oh, yeah, that's me too, Apparently gym memberships boom in the first week of January. It's like, that is the bread and butter of gym membership, man. So it's going to be busy down there. Maybe not actually on the exercise machines, but signing up at least, And the third one's lose weight. And the other three top New Year's resolutions. Isn't that like, my goodness? The other ones that came in was get my finances in order. Yep. Develop a new skill. Stop smoking. Read more books. Drink more water. That's in the top 10. I've got to drink more water. Spend time with family. And actually, it was commented, it was like, but then after the holidays, it's like, I've done that. Send the kids back to school. It was quite funny, but there's this sense of actually we want to reprioritize, and actually sow in where, what's significant. Often that happens, in the holidays. We think about that. We think about to take a weigh up what we're doing and how we're using our time and energies and finances. Get organised. Stop procrastinating. That was get my digital life in order. It's in the top 10. So that was, and maybe it's organising work, organising the kitchen, the tool shed, the break a digital addiction. So it was like, sort out my Facebook time and how much time I spend on screens or, watching Netflix. All this stuff sort of came out of it. And in there too, in the top 10 was reduced stress. Isn't it interesting that, flip, and I looked at that list and thought, oh, yeah, that's, I'm in there. That kind of mirrors a lot of, the New Year's resolutions that I've had in the past. And it's hilarious because they say by January the 19th, most have given up all their New Year's resolutions. Yeah, 2.5 weeks, that's it, done, can't do it. And it's funny, but it's also a little bit like, oh, really? And actually thinking of myself, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's probably not far off the truth, actually. We sort of gun-ho, and I think of the gym or something like that, and you go there for 2 or 3 sessions, and then, holidays over, you get back into routines, and all those things sort of drop away again. And apparently less than 16% of all New Year's resolutions are ever kept. And the reason? Well, lacking willpower, forgetting, and just too lazy. Those are the top 3 that people gave. So I was thinking, gosh, man, it's that's so much of speaks of humanity right there, eh? That by the end of January, we've kind of often slipped back into a lot of our own ways. And I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, gosh, but it is a start of a new year, isn't it? It's a start of something fresh. And did you know that actually you're wired for eternity? You were wired for eternity. And often we forget it. And Solomon, he was, considered the wisest man on earth. He had been given this gift of wisdom by the Lord. He'd written Ecclesiastes and many of the Proverbs. And he says this in Ecclesiastes 3, 9-11. What do workers gain from their toil? I have seen the burden that God has laid on the human race. He has made everything beautiful in its time. And he has also set eternity in the human heart. Yet, no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. Well, I thought, man, isn't that interesting that no matter, who we are and what we've done, and we're all wired for eternity, that eternity is in our hearts, that actually we long to do something that is bigger than ourselves. We long to create, and we long to invent. We long um, to do something that has of value, that has greater significance than ourselves, that would leave a lasting legacy, that we would worship something, that would give our lives to something, that would give us significance, give us meaning, give us purpose, give us security. And that's that eternity, Like that's wired into our hearts. We're looking for something that's more than ourselves. And of course, we know that's the Lord, right? It says that He breathed His Spirit into us, that we're eternal beings, right from the Genesis where He first created humanity. Adam and Eve, it says that He breathed into us. So there's this eternal spark, the Spirit that lives on. And yet we have that, yet it says that we cannot fathom what God's done from beginning to end. And so there's this sense that actually that we can't work God out. We can't put Him in a box. We can't categorize Him. We can't control Him. That God is totally other, and that God's perspective is not our perspective, and that there's some answers to questions that we're just not going to know this side of eternity. And so that question has come back to us so what is significant? What is your given that we are wired for eternity? What is significant for you in 2023? If we're going to create some resolutions, thinking about what's got to change from, I'm 46. I've done 46 New Years. And in the first probably 7 or 8, I can't really remember a whole lot of, but there's a whole lot of them, that actually that we should be learning from, and what is it? What goals? What can we set ourselves that are actually not just significant in terms of, say, going to the gym more or losing weight, but what about what has eternal significance? Paul de Jong, I was watching the TV late 2 nights ago, and he was on screen, and it was his message over Christmas, and man, it was awesome. It was, he spoke about this sense that we're wired for eternity, and he spoke about. So if you don't know his story, he's a pastor in Auckland, Life Church in Auckland. And has been involved and he's done a lot of amazing things. Planted churches in New Zealand, over in Australia, and he's set up he has a TV channel, a show that etc. And he does a lot of amazing stuff. And last year he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and he was given months to live. And you can imagine, really shook up his world. And he started, really at this last year, started to get a real perspective on eternity. And he had a number of operations, and the church, his church had been praying for him, and he's seen, it's been a real incredible, miraculous recovery. And he's saying the surgery that he had, so many potential, side effects, and that in terms of whether he was going to walk, whether he was going to be able to speak again, whether all these different things, complications, and he's had none of those, and he's up preaching, just last week, and he was speaking about just what that's changed, how that's changed his life and his perspective on things. And he spoke about that we're caught up in this world temporarily, and that we don't lose loved ones, but they are transitioned. And I thought, wow, to speak of a sense of transitioning from someone who's still does not know, he when his time's up. Doesn't that just, he sort of, oh yeah, man, it's not actually about this world. It's about eternity. Do you know where you're headed? Do you know what is significant for you, what God has called you to do in 2023? In 2 Corinthians 4, 15 to 17, it says this, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. And so we fix our eyes on what is seen, not on what is seen, but what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary and what is unseen is eternal." So what does focusing on what is unseen look like for you? How could that reprioritize your focus for the year? D.L. Moody, he was one of the most sort of famous evangelists in the 19th century. He was considered a bit like a Billy Graham, I guess, for the 20th century, for more recent times. But he had an incredible ministry, and he came to faith in a shoe store at the age of 18, and by I think a couple of years after that, he studied and went into ministry, and he preached, and he sowed seeds. And this is what he said when he was in the last year he was alive. He said, this was his quote, a quote from him from a sermon he gave. He said, "Someday you will read the papers that D.L. Moody of East Northfield is dead. Don't you believe a word of it. At that moment, I shall be more alive than I am now. I shall be gone up higher, that is all, out of this old clay tenement and into a house that is immortal, a body that death cannot touch, that sin cannot taint, a body fashioned like unto his glorious body. I was born in the flesh in 1837. I was born of the Spirit in 1856. That which is born of the flesh may die, but that was born of the Spirit will live forever." Isn't that awesome? Wow. Spoken from a guy who he didn't know his time. But he lived each day like that. And apparently people who knew him, it was even Billy Graham quoted him on his deathbed, and he changed the words around it. But it's a famous quote because he lived it out. That each year he lived in the knowledge of that man, this world is not important in terms of the material things but he looked at it from an eternal perspective. What actually eternally matters. And I guess, that's something that we can aspire to, eh? I know one of the young guys in the youth group, when he decided to join a football team from South America, a whole bunch of lads who couldn't speak, English very well, but he decided to join a team so that he could share the gospel with them and just build bridges, and spent 2 years, playing in that team. And I thought, wow, that's such a cool, super practical way of just being kingdom focused. Simple stuff, eh? But it's like what the conversations that he had and that he had with those guys over that year rippled into eternity. He had this sense of and a focus on what is unseen rather than what is seen. And so I want to give you a couple of minutes to have a think about it. What do you feel, God, what can you do this year that you can focus on that is unseen? What is something you can change in your life that has an eternal focus? So have a think for a couple of minutes and share with someone next door just what could it look like in 2023 to do something that is eternally focused. Awesome. So I hope, maybe you've got some great, here's some ideas, just something that small but could have an eternal impact on the lives of the people around you and your family, your friends, your neighbours, your workmates. Peter, he spoke about eternity. He had a huge focus on eternity as well. And as did, I guess, all the gospel writers. And they were, hugely intentional about living their life. And so Peter says this in chapter 3, 2 Peter chapter 3, 10 to 13. He says, "But the day of the Lord will come like a thief. The heavens will disappear with a roar. The elements will be destroyed by fire, and the earth and everything done in it will be laid bare. And since everything will be destroyed in this way, what kind of people ought you to be? You ought to live holy and godly lives as you look forward to the day of God and speed its coming. And that day will bring about the destruction of the heavens by fire, and the elements will melt in the heat. But in keeping with His promise, we are looking forward to a new heaven and a new earth where righteousness dwells." Wow. That's pretty sobering, eh? Like the thought that actually, that it's all going to be burnt. It's all going to be, and fire is a cleansing, isn't it? It's a picture of cleansing, of purifying. And so I was thinking about that. So everything's going to pass through fire. And it says that everything will be laid bare. That's not just the physical world, but our intentions too, and our heart, our actions, and what was spoken and not spoken. And so what's going to be fruitful eternally, that, that in terms of what we've said or what we've done. I was thinking, like, what about at work or at school or at home? Like, what have we done that's going to have eternal value, that's going to pass through that fire, that's going to be holy and righteous, that's going to impact eternity? And I think one of the key things we can do is actually just to pause and to reflect. And so much, and this year's been, 2022 has been a really tough year for a lot of people. I think a lot of people are still kind of are recovering and are re-energizing and are looking to gain their passion back and their vision back and are looking for hope, looking for purpose. And I believe that what was sort of coming through the words is, and actually even in prayer time this morning, was just that to use this time to recharge. Use time to step back and to just think about the year that's gone and think about, okay, what needs to change? What's been good? How do I need to refocus on things? Lord, I need you. I need a greater level of power in my life. I need to hear your voice more. God, I need a refocusing of what is it that you want me to do? Where do you want me to hone my finances, to hone my time? And Lord, how do you want me to navigate the next year? For that eternal purpose, for that eternal perspective. And so, I really encourage you with that this morning and over the next holidays to stop and just to recharge, not just physically but spiritually as well. And to recognize, man, if you're feeling low and I need to get back to where I was 2 years ago, or I just need a fresh touch of God. Then He's there. He won't fail you. But as sometimes it's our duty to just, actually, we've got to be the ones that slow down, and we've got to pause. I know for me, I find I'm a real task-orientated person, and I've been beavering away and getting the garden and the lawns and a lot of things back into ship shape from the spring, and I realised that, man, I could spend my whole holidays doing that. Or I could pull back a bit and just make sure I spend some time just sitting and reflecting and just asking God, "Well, what to now? What to from here?" Because, I was reading actually, even in the paper, there's a lady who was, I've forgotten her name, but she was in the 80s and she just passed away. And apparently she was known for a fashion designer and in the sort of the punk era, and she designed all the punky sort of clothing, and a lot of it was really edgy, and I thought, wow, but you couldn't escape death, and anti-authority, anti-establishment, and all of that in those punk times, and yet grew old too, the same as all of us, and passed away, wow. So what's your legacy going to be? What's my legacy going to be? And as Greg actually, the word that he had this morning with a prayer really was just like, Lord, yeah, actually, we've been given a mission. Each one of us is called, and God's power and God's authority is in that call. If we would step into it fully, but the time is not eternal. We've got a limited time, and we don't know how many years we've got. But so we've got to be focused, and we've got to hone that time and to be precise about and intentional about what we're doing with it. And just to finish, Teresa actually just prayed this morning. She had a picture of Lazarus, who was leprous, and he, in the story in the Old Testament, he went in and he dunked, he got washed, and he came up out of the water and he was completely cleansed. And she just had this feeling. It's like, man, the Lord wants us to pause and to just submerge ourselves in Him this morning and over these holidays, to come up refreshed, to wash away the weariness and the things, the battle scars of previous years, and the year that's gone, and to look forward to 2023, and to run the race with purpose and intent. And so I just want to pray as the team come up. We'll just finish on a song. I believe that that there's just a sense of refreshing this morning, a sense of a washing away of the last year, and a time to take that time out to renew passion, renew vision, renew joy with Him in these holidays. So, church, would you like to stand? And I'd like to just pray for us. Here. Lord, I thank you. Oops. Ooh. Lord, I thank you for fresh water. Actually, yeah. Well, Lord, I pray, Father, for the church this morning, Lord. I pray for just a fresh encounter with you, Lord, that we would not come into 2023 with a cup half empty, Lord, but Lord, we want to be overflowing. Yeah. Well, Lord, we need you. We need your purpose. We need your passion. Lord, we need fresh vision for this place, for our lives, for, Lord, the ministries that we volunteer and lead. And Lord, I pray for that, Lord, right now, Father. I pray for a washing away of the old, a washing away of the things that have wearied us, Lord, that have slowed us down, Lord, maybe that have made us feel like we're leprous. Lord, I pray right now, Lord, for a breaking off of all those things. And Lord, I pray for over this holiday break, Lord, that for a freshening, a revisioning, a repassioning, Lord, in you. And Lord, I just pray for that refocusing, Lord, that you're going to speak to people, Lord, so clearly, Lord, that the ones who are, just maybe they're weary, discouraged, tired, Lord, that when we come to you, Lord, that you're going to bring that small voice, and Lord, you're going to speak fresh revelation into people's lives. So I pray for that this morning, Lord, that you would just help us to do that, Lord, and to position ourselves to receive what you have for us, Lord, that we can run the race in 2023. Father, I pray a blessing over the church, Lord, over the ones here and the ones who couldn't make it this morning. Lord, for your fresh fire, for your fresh vision. In Jesus' name. Yeah, amen. Bless you. Hey, feel free to stay for a cuppa. And if you'd like prayer this morning, just around that word, you're feeling like Lazarus, then we'd love to just pray for you. And actually, God, He installs hunger in us, and it's in that hunger that the breakthrough comes often. So I encourage you for that. Come forward if you'd like prayer this morning. Yeah. But have a great holiday, have a great break, and enjoy your family, enjoy friends. But carve out some time for God too. In Jesus'